I never thought that a simple Bluetooth connection could shatter my whole life. In fact, everything started on a completely ordinary Tuesday afternoon. The kind of day you never expect will be etched into your memory like a knife piercing your heart. April 16th. I remember it clearly because it was the day before the monthly bills were due. Like every month, I was going over the family budget. I'm Brian, 39 years old, and I've been married to Mary for 11 years. Our marriage, or at least what I thought, was a stable example. Nothing flashy, not too glamorous, just peaceful, or so I thought. Mary had a habit of going to book club every Tuesday evening. She said it was a way to nurture her soul and connect with other women. As for me, I usually stayed late at the office to finish up whatever tasks were still hanging, but that day the company's server crashed, so everyone got to leave early. It was 2:30 p.m., and I sat in my car, thinking I might as well make a trip to Costco for toilet paper, coffee, and a few snacks Mary liked. The usual little things in marriage, you know. I turned on my phone, opened Spotify, and searched for the podcast Carl had recommended about investing. In a distracted moment, I hit Connect Bluetooth. But instead of connecting to my car like usual, my phone picked up a signal from Mary's Highlander. At first I was confused. Her car was supposed to be at Rita's place, her friend where they had book club. But the sound coming from the speaker froze me in place. Laughter, Mary's voice. It wasn't the forced laugh I was used to hearing. It was a real laugh, easy, comfortable. Then a familiar male voice chimed in. Diane. Diane, my best friend from college. The guy who stood by me when I proposed to Mary. The guy who slept on my couch for months after his divorce. I was paralyzed. He really doesn't know anything, Mary's voice came through, followed by a soft laugh. Brian thinks I'm at book club, and he thinks I'm at a financial conference in Cleveland. Yeah, he trusts too much. Just like when he almost got caught at your sister's wedding. But it's fine. Once he signs the house transfer papers, everything will be settled. I couldn't believe my ears. Each word, each sentence was like a dagger, peeling back layer after layer of me, not with pain, but with the raw coldness of truth. We just need to pretend for 97 more days until we finish the tax paperwork. Then I'll have everything. The house, the savings account, and the new life plan with you, without that idiot's name on it. That idiot was me. I heard them laugh. Laugh loud. Dion, my friend, the one I thought would live or die for me, and Mary, the woman I believed was my true love, were sitting in that car, plotting to steal my life. I don't remember how I disconnected the call. I don't remember driving home. I just remember sitting still in the parking lot, the phone shaking in my hand, and a deep, gaping hole opening up in my chest. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't break anything. I opened my notes app and wrote, 97 days. The plan starts today. I used to think that keeping a secret was the hardest thing in life, but I was wrong. What's harder is pretending you don't know that secret, living every hour, every minute, every second next to the person who betrayed you, while still smiling, cooking dinner, and lying side by side as if nothing ever happened. That's what I did, and I called it the Phoenix Operation. The next morning, I didn't go to work. I didn't grab my phone to call friends and complain like most men would. Instead, I closed my office door, sat down, and opened a new tab in my browser. I created a secret email account, a private drive, unsynced, that no one could trace. I made a folder, The Rebirth Plan. The name sounded cheesy, but it was all I could come up with at the time. I began to collect the pieces, the audio from the car with Mary and Dylan, screenshots from the bank, the secret account she hid from me, the transaction history, every little drip of money siphoned from our joint account, photos of receipts for secret vacations, hotels in Sedona, a French restaurant I was never invited to. Every night I lay next to Mary. She still slept like every other night, her back to me, hugging the pillow I had always thought was her substitute whenever I wasn't home. But now I knew. I was the substitute for the damn plan she had been secretly plotting with my best friend. 97 days. I had time. And I was going to use every single minute to peel apart that scheme, like peeling the skin off a snake. I began recording every move Mary made, not saying anything, just recording. Every time she left the house. Every time her phone buzzed and she quickly flipped the screen down. Every time she lied about the book club, but I saw her GPS location was somewhere else. The funny thing was, we'd been on a family phone plan for years, a feature designed to help couples trust each other, to locate lost phones. But Mary didn't know that I still had access to that data. Her location, down to the exact minute, showed up in my email every night. I downloaded a full history of messages from the tablet she'd forgotten to log out of iMessage. What I found was chilling. Just get him to sign and it's done. Let him think he's making the decisions. Pathetic, really. Dylan replied, "Yeah, I think 3 more months should do it. After that, we can finally be real. No more pretending. No more pretending to love him." I didn't feel anger anymore. It was as if the blood in my veins had turned to cold steel. Hard, cold, sharp. I started replying to Dylan's messages in a new way. I became the perfect Brian, inviting Dylan to sports games, talking about investments, even asking Mary what she wanted for dinner every night. I became the husband version that Mary no longer had any doubts about. They thought they'd won, and that's exactly what I wanted. I met with Arlene, the lawyer recommended through Reddit. She gave me a sad smile when she heard the story. "You're going to want a calculated response, not an emotional one. Emotions get people to lose their house, their kids, their dignity. Calculation works the opposite." We began taking action. I transferred part of my money to a new account Mary couldn't find. I signed a lease for a small, anonymous apartment, paid in cash. I bought an encrypted USB drive, storing all the evidence in 3 places: Dropbox, an anonymous Google Drive, and a hard copy hidden in a drawer at the office. Then I talked to Mary about taxes. "I think if you have the house in your name, it might help save on taxes. You're self-employed, right? As for me, I'm good. Who owns it doesn't really matter." She smiled, a smile I hadn't seen in a long time, because she thought her plan was almost done. She started suggesting things like redesigning the bathroom, planning for early retirement, and investing in real estate. I nodded, listened, like the clueless fool, just like they thought. I intentionally left a few documents forgotten around, like financial statements, some notes about the house transfer. She bit. I saw her sneaking a glance at my phone while I was in the shower. I also noticed her changing the iPad password. But it was too late. I already had what I needed. I had a special delivery service send a bag of documents to her office right at 2 p.m., the exact time she thought she'd be meeting to finalize the house transfer. I also arranged a goodbye dinner with Dylan that night, not to celebrate, as he thought, but to put the final nail in the coffin. There was only one final step left, the step I would take the next morning, day 98. I never imagined my life could be divided by a simple Bluetooth connection, and now there's just a thin line between who I was, yesterday's husband, the perfect man, the trusted best friend, and who I am now, the man who knows that everything around him is a setup designed to push him to the sidelines. Day 98 had come. No one knew but me. Mary thought today was the day of harvest, the day I would sign over the house to her, the final act in the ideal husband play I didn't know I was starring in. Dylan, no doubt, was somewhere, sipping wine, thinking about which room he'd claim in this house. And I, sitting in the car, held tightly to a USB drive containing over 3 gigabytes of evidence. Photos, audio files, bank statements, GPS logs, chat histories, everything. At 9:47 a.m., I stepped out of the car, standing in front of my lawyer Arlene's office. The woman who never smiled, but her eyes lit up when she saw me. She knew. I was ready. "We'll begin the second phase of Operation Phoenix," I said. "Are you ready?" Arlene asked, gently placing a stack of papers in front of me. I signed. The divorce petition, the urgent court order to freeze assets, the request for a financial fraud investigation, the revocation of all legal powers of attorney for Mary. Each signature felt like a nail in the coffin of their little dream. She smiled softly. "This move will keep them down for good." 10:32 a.m. I left the lawyer's office, heading straight for the bank. When I walked in, Trevor, the branch manager, recognized me immediately. He nodded with a special respect. Maybe it was rare for them to witness a man calmly request to freeze all joint accounts while holding full evidence that his wife embezzled money to run off with his best friend. 11:15 a.m., I stood in front of Mary's mother's house. This tiny woman had once held my hand at our wedding and said, "Thank you for loving my daughter." Now, as I handed her a copy of the email Mary sent to Dylan, she just stood there wide-eyed and started crying. I didn't blame her. She was part of the act too, but maybe she was the most deceived audience member. 12:43 p.m., I returned to the home I'd shared for over a decade. Everything was the same, but to me, it no longer felt like home. I sat at the kitchen table, the place that had once been the heart of the family, and placed 3 envelopes there. One for Mary containing the divorce papers and an asset analysis with the note, "I've known everything since day one." One for Dylan, with just a copy of the audio recording from the car conversation I overheard via Bluetooth. And one for me, containing the letter I'd written to myself on day one of the Phoenix operation. A reminder, don't let them make you forget who you are. 1:58 p.m., I left the house. Mary was probably thinking I was rushing to the tax appointment, where she would sweetly sign the transfer papers for me, unaware that I had canceled the appointment the day before. Instead, at exactly 2 p.m., she received a text message. "Thank you for the last 97 days. You played your part well, but the show ends here." Less than 5 minutes later, my phone started ringing off the hook. Dozens of missed calls and messages that started with, "What are you talking about?" turned into, "You know, don't you?" And finally, "Please don't do this." I turned the phone off. 6 p.m., I was sitting in my new apartment, a small place, with no history, no lies. On my laptop screen, there was an email from Dylan's lawyer. He wanted to settle quietly. He was willing to voluntarily relinquish any contested assets if I stopped publishing more documents. Poor guy, he thought I was doing this for my reputation. No, I was doing this to reclaim the truth. That night, for the first time in 3 months, I slept soundly. And in my dream, I saw a house burning. But this time, I didn't try to put out the fire. I stood there watching the flames burn brightly and smiled. I woke up at 5:02 a.m. Not from a nightmare, not from stress, but because of a luxury I hadn't remembered I could reach. Peace. No one beside me pretending to sleep to avoid the truth. No more unfamiliar perfume lingering on the collar of someone I had trusted. No more the shadow of a close friend weighing down every moment I once thought was friendship. It was just me, and the soft light from the balcony of my new apartment, the one I moved into after everything fell apart, or rather, after I deliberately tore it down to rebuild from scratch. Yesterday, after 97 days of planning, hiding, and wearing a mask like a seasoned performer, I finally did what no one thought I would. I left before they could push me out. When Mary walked into the tax office in the dress she picked from the New Life Amazon wish list, she probably still thought she'd put on a sweet farewell act once all the papers were signed. Instead, she was handed an envelope by Arlene, my lawyer, and inside was the signed divorce papers, a request to freeze assets and investigate illegal transfers, and a copy of the recording from the fateful Bluetooth day, where she and Dylan called me the poor fool. At that exact moment, the text I sent from my new apartment went through, "Your new life has just begun, but not with that house, not with my money, and definitely not with my silence." Dylan. He tried calling me at 2:16 p.m. The last message I got from him was, "We can handle this like men." No, Dylan. Real men don't sneak around with their best friend's wife while still playing basketball every Friday night. I didn't reply. Instead, I sent the recording of his voice talking about taking the house to avoid taxes to a friend of mine at the Financial Inspection Department. He wanted to use me as a legal tool. He didn't realize he was stepping into a game I set up from day one. Mary texted me at 9:41 p.m., a wall of text longer than an A4 sheet. Apologies, promises to make things right, and tears drawn out in words. I didn't read it all. I didn't need to know why she did it. The reason doesn't change the outcome. The simple truth is, she chose to lie instead of being honest, to betray instead of save, to take instead of build. This week I met up with Andrew, my older brother. We sat at the usual bar drinking the same old beer. He asked, "How do you feel now?" I thought for a moment, then answered, "I feel free. Not happy, not yet, but free. And that's a good enough start." I sold the house. the one they thought they'd take from me as a reward for their betrayal. The money after the asset split, I didn't touch much. I moved it into a small scholarship fund named after my grandfather, who used to say, if your life falls apart, make sure you're the one to knock it down first, then choose a new brick to build it back up. Dylan lost his job after an anonymous email, someone who definitely wasn't me, sent the recording of the conversation about tax fraud to HR. Mary is still living with him, according to what I hear from mutual friends. But rumors say they're no longer sharing a bed. When you build happiness on lies, no matter how soft the mattress is, it won't help you sleep soundly. And me? I have a small place, a few basic things, an old couch I bought from Craigslist, and the peace of mind I lost so long ago. I started rewriting my life plan. She's no longer in it. It's no longer, what will we do next year? It's, I'll learn photography like I always wanted. I'll head to Colorado alone this winter. I'll live truthfully, no longer playing the poor fool role. This weekend, I'll burn the printed copy of the first email I overheard, the letter she wrote to Dylan, saying that in 97 days she'd be free of me. I'll burn it, word by word, not because I'm angry, but because I survived 97 days of being lied to, pretending, and being hurt, and I deserve to walk through the fire as a new person. I'm no longer Mary's husband, no longer Dylan's friend, no longer the pitiful failure. I am the one who forged himself in the fire of betrayal, rose from the ashes, and rewrote the first chapter of my life with my bare hands. I am the declaration behind the back of the betrayer, and I'm back. This is the story of a man who seemed like he had been knocked down, who seemed like he would be the victim of his own life. But instead of crumbling, he chose to rise. Not for revenge, but to reclaim his self-respect, to close an old chapter with his own hands and to begin a new one, the chapter of freedom and pride. Because sometimes true strength isn't in yelling at the betrayer, it's in walking away with calmness without ever looking back. If this story resonates with you, if you find yourself somewhere on a similar journey, if you enjoy long, dramatic, emotional, and deeply moving stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next stories.